Okay, here's a Unit 1, Day 2, Systems of Inequalities. So yesterday we did systems of linear equations, and we threw some nonlinear ones in there with it. But today we're going to do systems of inequalities, which just means these are the ones where you got a shade on one side. And it could be several answers. In fact, all of these, there are no one-point solutions. There's no solutions that's just a single point. It's going to be a whole bunch of points, or it's going to be no points. So what does the solution to a system of inequalities look like? Well, it's a shaded region. And this shaded region consists of infinitely many ordered pair solutions. These are solutions to both of the inequalities. Okay, so solve the system by graphing. And if you remember, if you have less than or equal to, you're gonna graph a solid line. If you have just a less than or just a greater than, it's going to be a dotted line. So as I'm graphing these guys, first off, I'm going to just pretend like it's a y equals. So this has a y-intercept of 2, has a slope of 2, so up to right 1, up to right 1, down to left 1, put my dots in, and now because it's equal to, I can make that a solid line. But I also need to shade. Okay, so I'm going to shade on one side because it's everything above this or below this is also a solution. And if I plugged in 0, 0, if I plugged in 0 here and 0 here, would that also be a solution? Because all these points on this line are a solution, but is everything on this side a solution, or is everything on this side? So if you plug in 0, 0, that'd be 0 is less than or equal to 2, and that is a true statement. Probably a faster way of doing this, though, because you could just pick points and test them. A faster way, if you have y by itself, less than means you're below the line, greater than means you're above. And some students have trouble visualizing this because they think left and right, left side, right side. Think of this as a roof. Okay, if it's raining, what side's the rain come down on? It's come down on the top side, so it's going to come down on this side and you'll go down the roof. So this is the top side, this side's the bottom side. Okay, so less than is on this side. So I'm going to shade on this side, and I'll just do vertical lines for this side. If you've got like a pencil, you can just kind of shade lightly, or you can do vertical line, whatever, as long as you do something different for the other one. That's the other equation. 1 is the y-intercept, has a -1 slope, so down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, up 1, left 1. Okay, and this is not equal to, so I can't make that a solid line, I got to make that a dotted line. So I'm going to just make this a dotted line. Okay, so solid, that one's dotted. And now y is below, so think if that's a roof, which would be the inside of the house, or what would be under the roof? You'd be safe on this side, you'd get wet on that side. So I want to shade on the bottom side. I'm going to do horizontal lines for this. Okay, so where did I shade twice? Down here. Okay, nothing crazy. You don't have to like shade it in black, or you don't need to rub down half of your lead while you're doing this. A way to check it then would be pick some point inside the shade region, plug it into both, and see if it's right. Okay, I'm going to save some time and skip that part, but the second one, kind of speeding things up a little bit here. Let's see. I'll do the two. I'm going to draw them first. So I've got y is less than or equal to 3. Well, I did y equals 3. Solid line because it was equal to. And now, if this was a roof, this is probably the easiest one to see. Which one's the bottom side? So it'd be below. So I'm going to shade below this. And I'll just do vertical lines. Okay, the other equation, this is a less than, so it's going to be a dotted line. And it's also less than, so if this was my roof, this would be the bottom side, that's the top side. So below is on this side, so I'm going to shade below. I'll do vertical, that's why I do horizontal. Again, where is it checkered? Be all of this. Okay, in that area. Again, if you want to check it, pick a point in that shade region and plug it in and see if it works. Okay, so this guy here, the first one, it's always going to be easier to graph if it's in in slope-intercept form. One thing we can talk about standard form here in a moment, but I'm going to do this first one. Okay, so there's my graph of my first equation. It had a slope-intercept, had a y-intercept of 0. So I went through 0, had a slope of -2 down to right 1. It's greater than, not equal to, so it's a dotted line. And then if that was a roof, top side, bottom side. So I shaded on the right side or the top side of that. Now this one, you could get y by itself, and that is perfectly fine. If that makes you feel good, or I should say makes you comfortable. So if I brought the 2x over, this would be negative y greater than or equal to negative 2x plus 2. The problem you got to remember here, when you do it this way, if you divide by a negative, so if I want to switch this to a positive because you want a positive y, when you divide by a negative, that switches this sign. Okay, so when I switched all the signs, now I got a less than or equal to. Another way you could have done this, if you remember the x-intercept, the y-intercept, if it's in standard form, if you want to know the x-intercept, cover up the y. So 2x equals 2, that means the x-intercept is 1. If I solve for x, if 2x equals 2, then 2 times 1 equals 2. So that'd be at 1. If I want the y-intercept, cover up the x. So I'm just going to cover that up. So negative y equals 2, that means y equals negative 2. Okay, so that'd be right here. If you notice, if I go over this method, y-intercept is negative 2. I already have that graphed. Slope is up 2 right 1, right there. So both of them gave me the exact same answer. Okay, so keep that trend going, the up 2 right 1 trend. It is a solid line. It's equal to. Okay, and now I'm going to shade below it because y is less than. And if that is a roof, bottom side, top side. The inside you're safe. So bottom side. So I'm going to shade on this side. So I'll go this. Now where is it shaded twice? It's over in this region right here. Okay. I'm going to do number 4. I'm going to do it quickly. Well, maybe we should get y by itself. Let's do it this way. Let's get y by itself here, and then after we get the equations, and I'm just going to pause, graph it, and you can check yourself. But if I get y by itself, that means bring the 3 over. So if y was by itself, and then it'd be x plus 3 on the other side, because that'd be plus 3. But notice the arrow should be pointing at the y, because I rearranged everything. Okay. Here, if I bring that 3 over, I'd have 1/2 y. And then I have x minus 3. When I brought the 3 to the other side, it'd be x minus 3. The arrow is pointing away from the y. So I should continue. To get y by itself, now I need to double everything. So if I double everything, that'd be 1y, that'd be 2x, that'd be minus 6. So here's my 2. Now I'm going to graph those guys. I'm going to pause it. If you want to pause it and try it, then check yourself. Okay, I did make a mistake here, so ignore these points right here. Just ignore those points. So here's my dotted top line. That's this guy. This guy's right here. And where it's double shaded is right down the middle. It's like the alley going down the middle there. Okay. On this back side, I'm gonna stick with 5, 7, and 9. I'm gonna shorten this video up a little bit. So if I zoom this over, I've got absolute value. And I don't know if you remember absolute value very much. But when you've got an absolute value, the shape of that, when you graph it, is a V shape. And what it is, if you're just not quite sure, we could just plug a few points in, make a t-table out of it. So if I'm just not sure, if I don't remember what to do, which we'll go over a lot in detail by the end of this unit, or by the end of this course, it's one of our parent functions. We're supposed to memorize the absolute value, and we should recognize what minus 1 does to x, but until we get there, we're just going to pick a few points. So let's just say negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. Now I'm going to plug those points in quickly. If I plug these in, I plug in negative 2 minus 1 would be negative 3, takes the absolute value of 3, and I get those points. As you plot these points, negative 2, 3, negative 1, 2, and then 0, 1, 1, 0, 2, 1, you get that V shape in there. So, and that's how it always works. Then it's going to go this, like that. Also, for right now, if you want to try to do this on the calculator, if you want to graph absolute values in the calculator, okay, I just want to graph the absolute value. Let's pretend it's an equal sign. I want to get the shape. I'm not worried about the less than part. So if I want absolute value of x minus 1, it's under math, and number. Okay, so go push math, the math button, the math button right there, math, and then go over to number, and ABS means absolute, so absolute value of x, so the variable button, -1, graph it, and it's going to give you that V shape. That little point lands at 1, 0, and that's where it should land, is at 1, 0. Now, should I shade above or below this? Same idea as, think of it, if these were roofs, this would be a really weird house to own, but if it was a roof like this, well, inside here is the top side, everything down here is the bottom side. So I need to shade on the bottom side of this. Okay. The other guy then, y is greater than 4. Remember, if it's just a number, it's going to be a horizontal line. Positive 4 means go up 4. So there's a horizontal line. And you know what? And I already messed up on both of these. These both should be dashed lines. Okay, so let me fix that with some white out. So here's my fixed version. These are both dotted lines because they're both greater than, less than, there's no equal to. And this one is shade above, so I should be a shade above that line. And if I extend this, it'd be above that line, which is like this. So this is your area over here. That's a solution to both. It's just those two areas. Now this would keep going out if I expanded the graph a little bit. Let's see. So I shaded the first one just to save some time on our video because I can only do 15-minute videos here. So I did the first one. If you have trouble, pause it and look back over that and see what you think. The next one then is if you don't, probably the best thing is to type in a calculator, I guess. You can make a t-table and that'll take a little time, but if I want to edit this guy, I want to keep that absolute value in there, so I'm going to do delete, delete. And in here, if I want to insert a character, okay, so if I want to insert a character, I can go see INS, up here INS, so second INS, I want to insert a negative in there, so negative, then push over +2. So I can kind of use the last one there, and then if I graph this guy, it's an upside down V shape. It looks like it peaks at 0, 2. So 0, 2. Okay, and it's going to go down. This one is solid. Okay, and it says that y is less than, so I'd be shading below this. So I'm going to do vertical lines like this. And notice where it's shaded twice is right in there. Okay, now this last guy, I got 2 minutes here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to graph all 3 of these. I just rewrote I put that y by itself. I'm going to do all 3 of them and look for where do all 3 of them overlap. Okay, so this first one, it crosses at 6. Down one, right one. I'm going fast here. It's a dotted line. And we're shading above. So we're going to shade above that guy. And then I'm going to do this guy. So this would be y is greater than or equal to 3. So it would be a solid line. It's going to be above. But now I got to do a third line. So this is x is greater than or equal to 0. That's a vertical line at 0. And greater than is to the right. So it's going to be to the right also. So maybe I'll do diagonal lines for this. So if you notice where it got shaded 3 times, and this would keep going out that way. Okay, so that is, if they give you more, you just got to keep graphing and shading, and where they all meet, that's your solution area. I know that Math Excel is a little bit tricky to use with this because you're not just drawing on there and shading. You got to click, and so take your time with it. Don't rush through it. If you slow down, read the directions, it'll make it a lot easier.